the United States would take notice and would have to assume the worst, assume that, in fact, Russia would be preparing to strike us, and we would take appropriate measures. First, warning the Russians, and then if they didn't heed our warnings, striking back. Well, guess what? The Russians inhabit that same kind of world. They're looking not only at the United States, actively now encouraging and supporting Ukraine use of ATACMS, Storm Shadow, and possibly German Taurus missiles that can fly up to 300 miles inside Russia. And the Russians have to be concerned and are expressing the concern that they can't be confident that the United States is not deploying a nuclear-tipped warhead. This has become an especially acute concern on the part of Russia in light of last week's drone attacks on these strategic radars that are used to detect inbound intercontinental ballistic missiles. There is no justification for attacking those radars. They do nothing to advance Ukraine's cause in fighting the land war against Russia in Ukraine. The only possible reason for launching that kind of attack is to take out Russia's early warning system. Accordingly, this has caused a dramatic shift in Russia's rhetoric on this issue. And they are warning that they will not hesitate to retaliate and to take preemptive, proactive measures. These folks are not playing. They are dead serious. And by virtue of being dead serious, they're trying to put the United States on notice. The problem is, many in the United States positions of decision-making within both the Biden White House, State Department, and apparently CIA are dismissing these as idle threats. From what I have observed, as I've monitored Russian military actions since the start of the special military operation, Russia doesn't make idle threats. Russia is very upfront about stating its objectives, what it intends to do, what it views as a red line, as something that must not be crossed. The West is making the mistake of assuming that past Russian patience in not retaliating, for example, with drone strikes that hit the Kremlin, that this is a sign of Russian weakness or Russian fear. It is no such thing. It is a sign of Russian patience. But we in the West are mistaking Russian patience for Russian stupidity. And that is the fatal error that I think Sergei Rybakov had in mind when he issued this warning the other day. I think it is incumbent upon every American to contact their member of Congress, their senator, and tell them, we don't want to go to war with Russia. Ended peacefully because cooler heads prevailed. I am very, very concerned that we do not have cooler heads right now in Washington, either on the Democrat side and in the person of the feeble, demented Joe Biden, or his equally feckless, inept Secretary of State Antony Blinken, or the incompetent Jake Sullivan. None of these people understand the kind of nuclear fire that they are playing with and putting the citizens of the United States at risk. Likewise, on the Republican side, there are very, very few voices. I think only J.D. Vance and Rand Paul on the Senate side are the only ones trying to talk reason and common sense and encourage the opening of talks and negotiations to ease tensions. Instead, the Biden administration is pouring fuel on a fire, and this is not a conventional fire. This is a fire with nuclear consequences. I wish I had a cheerier message for you today, but I cannot help but underscore the urgency of paying attention to what senior Russian officials are now saying. They're not kidding. They're not trying to blow smoke up your ass. They're not bloviating and making idle threats. They mean what they say. And I think we need to pay attention. Thank you.
That has sent shockwaves across the globe with their recent actions. Today, the world watches in disbelief and horror as news breaks that these two powerful nations have launched hypersonic missiles targeting Israel, specifically aimed at Rafah. This unprecedented attack marks a significant escalation in international tensions and introduces a new and terrifying dynamic to global warfare. The use of hypersonic missiles, which travel at speeds exceeding 5 times the speed of sound, presents a technological marvel, but also a profound threat, as traditional missile defense systems struggle to intercept them. The implications of this event are vast, not only for the immediate geopolitical landscape, but also for the future of international relations and military strategy. Before we start, hit the like and subscribe buttons for more updates. The motivations behind China and Russia's coordinated assault on Israel are complex and multifaceted. Both nations have historically had contentious relationships with Western powers and their allies, often finding themselves at odds with U.S. foreign policy. By launching an attack on Israel, a staunch U.S. ally, they send a clear message of defiance and challenge the existing world order. The selection of Rafah as a target is particularly significant, given its strategic location and historical content.
Reading out of the book of Obadiah, chapter 1 and verse 15, and it reads, "For the day of the Lord is near upon all the heathen. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thine own head." Giving all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High Power of Israel, Yahweh, Bashma Mashiach Yahweh Shai, Ruharu Kakudash. Double honors to the mighty men, the elders, and the apostles in the community, waking up the lost sheep, the house of Israel in these last days. Peace and blessings to everyone doing this truth and humbleness, sincerity. Again, I'm going to say shalom. It'll be a short exhortation. We're going to get right to it. As you can see, the mainstream media, okay, they give you only one side of the war in the Middle East. But you got other truthers out there, okay, like the one posted. They go into what's really going on. And it's something a lot of the elders and apostles, including myself, we've been warning this world war would escalate. And the media don't show you the escalation, but it will escalate, okay? And Jacob's trouble, it will hit a severe peak. And then this time, it'll be our very last moments in captivity. So let's go back to Jacob's trouble real quick. Okay, let's get Jeremiah 30. Let's get the classic. the classic in Jeremiah chapter 30 and verse 7. I had it, I lost it. One moment. Jeremiah chapter 30 and verse 7, and it reads, "At last, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it." And that's really going into that severe peak, the very last moments of our captivity. Okay. I anticipate when that kicks in, it'll be far worse than the first lockdown, because there will be no reopening, there will be no government funds. It will be every man for himself in that day. And that is the time that we're coming into. We're entering into the very last days. Right? Because this nuclear war is imminent. And it's foolish to believe in a Donald Trump or a Joe Biden presidency. That is funnier than Comedy Central right about now. Okay? Has America ever been a benefit to people of color? You know how much evidence there is to prove these people in power hate our guts, and that's no longer, excuse me, for debate. That's just reality. We know two parts of our people. They're going to cleave to the oppression and not cleave to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Yahweh, Yahweh Shai. They won't cleave to the truth. They're going to cleave to foolishness. Right? Let's get Jeremiah 37 in verse, Jeremiah 30 and verse 8. "For it shall come to pass in that day, said the Lord of hosts, that I will break the yoke from off thy neck, and will burst thy bonds, and strangers shall no more serve themselves of him." Okay. We are still captives. Right? And that's part of the punishment when you go into chiefly Deuteronomy 28 chapter. And I'll give a short historical run biblically. You had the Egyptian captivity. You had the Assyrian captivity. You had the Babylonian captivity. Then you had the Persian and Medes. Then you had the rise of racism, white supremacy hit with the Greek captivity. That's the first and second Maccabees accounts, which is real history for all you newcomers. The Greek captivity is in the Apocrypha, right? And for those of us that grew up Catholic, including myself, the Catholic Bible actually have the Apocrypha. So when Christians say it's not a true book, they're lying, because the Greek captivity is found in the Apocrypha. Okay, moving on. You had the Roman captivity. And the Roman captivity partially fell, but they rose again. Okay. Let's get that in Luke 21 real quick. It'll be short. I'm not going to keep y'all too long. It's winding down. This war is suddenly going to escalate. And, the elect is going to listen. But those that's lukewarm and want to be in this world, want to entertain MLB, basketball, NFL, y'all get caught up. Can't serve two masters, man. This place is going to suddenly get hit with nuclear missiles, man. And it's going to be a sudden strike. Right? Y'all see the news? And ultimately, the members of NATO, all of them going to turn on America. Tell you Revelation, they're going to hate the whore, roughly paraphrasing. And nothing but chaos is going to hit America and its remaining allies. That's when the missiles going to come down. Y'all see the image in the background there. Okay. So we have to keep the commandments. to the best of our ability in humbleness and sincerity. Okay, Revelations 20. Give me a second. Revelation 20:1, it reads, "And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit, and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years." Okay, that was Revelations 21:2. We're going to read down to verse 3. "And cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, till that 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that, he must be loosed a little season." Now let's go to Luke 21:21. Check this out. Let's read the book of St. Luke 21 and verse 21. I'm going to start at verse 20 for context. It says, "And when you shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh." This is going into the fall of ancient Jerusalem. Okay, those of us that did Holy Land tours, the city of David, what's left of it, is literally desolate. Right? That's for those of us that's been on Holy Land tours. I hadn't been in the Middle East in over 10 years, but I actually did a Holy Land tour, and that was real edifying. Okay, I was still in the world, but I was just looking for answers. That's what, the Spirit led me there. And it was shortly after that I came into the knowledge of the truth. All praise to the Most High. Luke 21 and verse 21. "Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter thereinto. For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled." Okay. "But woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck." This is a woman and her little one, obviously. "In those days, for there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people." And this people was dealing with the Hebrew Israelites. Okay. Moses warned the Israelites. You can read all the Deuteronomy accounts. Moses warned Israel if they transgress against the laws and the commandments and the statutes, they will be punished. They will be made captives, into Egypt again with ships. That's Deuteronomy 28:68. And when you go into a lot of the Isaiah accounts, it go into us being Egyptians and dwelling in Egypt as slaves when you read all the Isaiah accounts. And that Egypt is dealing with America, spiritual Israel, spiritual Egypt. Okay, excuse me. That's what that's going into. Roughly paraphrased, don't the Most High said in Revelation, the Most High called this place Sodom and Egypt. It's talking about America. And America is that place that's prophesied to be burnt away in the judgment. As ancient Sodom and Gomorrah was burnt away, that was during the times of Lot and his daughters. We know that historic account in Genesis. Lot's wife, she looked back and she turned into a pillar of salt because she didn't really clear her mind. In that time, that would have been Babylon. I'm just saying, that would have been like this side, but she didn't really clear her mind. And they were given a decree from the angels to not look back. But she looked back And to this day, that pillar of salt is still there. So, that's a warning to us on this side. That's why a lot of brothers bring out, remember Lot's wife. Because if we get caught up in this place, we're going to get burnt alive, man. If we're not doing this work in humbleness, sincerity, and being lukewarm in Babylon the Great, aka America, that missile suddenly gonna come and land, and there won't be no deliverance. It's gonna be just destruction and the sudden end, the judgment. Right? Let's get that. Let's get that in Revelations 20 and 15. Because I don't see a future for Babylon the Great. Okay, there's no future here. I don't care how much money you make. I don't care what type of job you have. Even if you've been blessed with a huge, like a lottery or something, it won't stop the judgment. Okay? Revelation chapter 20. I'll get to the point. Actually, I'm going to read we're going to start at verse 10. Revelation 20 and 10, and it reads, "And the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast and the false prophet are, and shall be tormented day and night forever and ever. And I saw a great white throne, and him that sat on it, from whose face the earth and the heavens fled away, and there was found no place for them." And that's really dealing with wicked Israelites. And there are many accounts, especially in the Luke accounts, where it tell you the children of the kingdom are going to be cast-offs. They're going to be castaways, roughly paraphrasing. Meaning they're going to be on the outside looking in after the judgment. Okay, there's an Ezra's account, second Ezra's, I believe, they're going to learn death by pain. So, and that actually gets worse when you read the Mark 9 accounts. You can forget it. There are many accounts, in Psalms that go into the damnation of the Israelites that didn't repent. I don't want to get too deep on that. I've done many videos about no salvation for the wicked of our people. But if you're new to the truth, all I can tell you is this. You have to study this oracle, man. You got to study the history. Okay, let's read on. "And the sea gave up the dead." We're at verse 13. "And the sea gave up the dead which were in it, and death and hell." Okay. "Delivered up the dead which were in them, and they were judged every man according to their works." This is why it's extremely important to have works, okay? Be a member of a congregation, a camp family, and do this work in humbleness and sincerity, because the day is coming where the Lord is going to snatch us out. He's going to snatch us up out of here. Okay? He's going to deliver his chosen. And if you're not found on the right-hand side, you're going to get caught in that destruction. Okay, like the image in the background there with the bombs going off. Okay, you're going to get caught in that. And we're in that time now. America, okay, going off topic. America reaches 250 years within less than a year and a half. And when you do the accounts on the Egyptian captivity, the Assyrian, the Babylonian, the Persian, the Greeks, the Romans, okay, and the extended Roman Empire, which is America, all these kingdoms only made it up to 250 years or close to that. They were judged for all the Ku Klux Klan and they stupid save humanity doctrine that they didn't poison the damn planet, teaching everyone's going to make it. That's a lie. Okay, the only ones that's going to get, salvation is your Revelation 7 Hebrew Israelites, those found written in the book, coming out of all kindreds and tongues. Okay, John 7:34 on down, those that were dispersed among the Gentiles, that's dealing with the children of the diaspora.
not some Ku Klux Klan doctrine that's going to save everybody. White supremacy is on its way out, and they're going to take themselves out with nuclear missiles. Okay? It's imminent. Let's carry on. Revelation chapter 20 and 14. And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death. And whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire. That's that judgment, man. We know the Most High warned us in 2 Peter 3 and 10 that the Lord's going to come as a thief in the night. Okay. So, remember after the lockdown and the reopening, during the reopening, certain places were still on lockdown. So that's still going to play out. Okay. Of course, you would anticipate that. But there's got to be a sense of norm according to this oracle. So everything won't lock down. America's just going to plunge into a nuclear war suddenly. That's what the Lord is telling us. So we have to be alert to that thing. And not be jammed up in the ways of Babylon the Great, because this place is finished, man. Y'all see where America's headed, man. America's plunging into an abyss of judgment, and there's no turning back. This happened to ancient Egypt when you study the Exodus accounts or the Torah accounts. This happened during the time of Pharaoh's rule. Once the plagues hit, they were done. The plagues are here. I'm looking at reports here in New York. I think all of New York, even the city, there's a plague of spiders. That's pretty scary, okay? I struggle to get past the whole the arachnophobia, okay? But imagine, okay, so I saw a few videos on that. It was going viral. I saw up to 2 or 3 videos going into how these giant spiders are about to invade New York State and New York City. Not crickets, big creepy spiders. So the Lord gonna show his might in these last days like he did to the Egyptians 4,000 plus years ago. Okay, if you keep these commandments, okay, the Lord, he's going to shield you. But if you're not keeping these commandments and you're going lukewarm, or if you just fall out the truth like some truthers do, former truthers have done, you're going to get caught in a very bad judgment. Okay? We're going to here. Let's get Daniel's. Let's get the book of Daniel's. We have to keep the commandments and keep the faith and hold on tight. As you know, Jacob's trouble begins to peak. I made just a few groceries yesterday, and the inflation is only getting worse. It's going to get to the point where they're going to have to shut down a lot of these supermarkets and whatnot, because people are going to start stealing at a very high level. Those of us that work in Midtown Manhattan, we knew about these mega Walgreens that they shut down right out of Midtown Manhattan because they were stealing. The theft was so bad, they had to move. This is what they did. This is for you Israelites in the East Coast right here in New York City. A lot of those mega Walgreens, they were transported to that renovated Penn Station on 34th Street. That's what happened, because there you have law enforcement, you have Port Authority, you have MTA, you have all those policemen there to kind of watch the stores now, because the ones in Midtown, it was less security and they was robbing them left and right to the point of closing the stores. So these plagues and famines are going to get worse, right? Let's get Daniel's 2. Y'all know what I want. I believe it's Daniel's 2 and 12. Give me a second. Let me get it.
One moment. It's going down in these last days, though, y'all. You can't deny the warning signs. Anyone denying these warning signs, you just, how do you say, you're walking in pride. And it's funny, Babylon the Great celebrating their Pride Month, and for our people that refuse to come out of the ways of Sodom and Gomorrah, that missile gonna come full throttle. Remember, it's gonna be a sudden strike to destroy this place. Okay. I got it. It's Daniel 12. We're going to start at verse 1 and we're going to end it in 2. And it reads, "And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which stand before the children of thy people." Thy is possessive, dealing with the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. Okay. "And there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, everyone that shall be found written in the book." This is going into the book of life. Okay, you go into Ezekiel 20. I believe Ezekiel 11. There's a lot of accounts in Ezekiel that go into that one-on-one with Hamashiach Yahushua. If you're not found written in that book, you're not going into the bond of the covenant. That's Hebrews 8 and 8 through 11. Okay, because we know the first covenant, I believe that's Jeremiah 31, about 31 down to 34, 36. We didn't keep that covenant, and we were further punished for violating the laws. But when Christ comes, it's not going. It won't be like the time Moses. You're either gonna get in or you're gonna get cut off. That's how it's going to end. Daniel 12 and verse 2. We're going to hear. "And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life," and it's key, "and some to shame and everlasting contempt." Everlasting is not a long time. Everlasting says what it says. You can look at many definitions, Strong's, the concordance. It's a time without end. So if you caught on the left-hand side of the judgment, you're going to be cast out. I'll read this one more time. Daniel's 12 and 2. "And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt." And with that, I'm going to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High Power of Israel, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Double honors to the mighty men, the elders, and the apostles in the Israelite community, waking up the lost sheep of the house of Israel in these last days. Peace and blessings to everyone doing this truth and humbleness and sincerity. Israel, I love y'all. We got next. Shalom, family.